You spent months dieting. You suffered through the hunger. You finally hit your goal weight, looked in the mirror and thought, is this it? You're leaner, sure, but you also look soft and deflated. And the worst part? The moment you started eating normally again, the fat came rushing back faster than before. Most people think the problem is that they didn't diet hard enough. But the reality is, you probably dieted too hard, without the right training and nutrition. Here is the scientific approach to eating and training that ensures the next time you look in the mirror, you love what you see. When you decide to lose weight, you intentionally create a calorie deficit. You eat less energy than your system needs. This sends a powerful signal to your body. We need energy, and there's not enough coming in. Naturally, it looks for stored energy, which is exactly what we want. But here's the key. The body is never going to only target fat. When you lose weight, it doesn't just tap into your fat stores, it also starts to break down lean tissue, which is your muscle. This is a pretty normal survival mechanism. Now, think about the two conflicting messages you send your body during this process. The first signal is from the calorie deficit itself, telling it to break down tissue for energy. The second one comes from your training, particularly resistance or weight training. This signal says, hey, we are actively using and stressing this muscle, so it must be important. Don't get rid of it. Without the strength training signal, the body assumes the muscle is unnecessary baggage, especially when you are in a caloric deficit, and it's happy to break down the little muscle mass you have for fuel. The more body fat you have, the more the body prefers to burn fat initially. But as you get leaner, your body gets stingier with its fat reserves, and is more likely to tap into that metabolically expensive muscle tissue unless you give it a reason not to. People often talk about the calories they burn during a workout, and that's great, but it's actually a small part of the picture. The vast majority of the calories you expend every single day are burned just by existing. This is called your basal metabolic rate, or BMR. It's the energy your body uses for fundamental functions like breathing, pumping blood, and maintaining body temperature. And guess what the single biggest determinant of your BMR is? Your amount of muscle mass. Muscle tissue is metabolically expensive. It requires energy to maintain, even when you're just sitting on the couch. The fat in your gut is not. When you lose weight primarily by dieting without sufficient training, or, more importantly, without enough protein, you lose a lot of muscle along with the fat. Weight loss always causes a drop in your basal metabolic rate because you have a smaller body to maintain, and this is called metabolic adaptation. However, every pound of muscle you lose worsens this effect, as muscle is an active tissue. This is why when you finish that low-protein, no-training diet, your maintenance calories are now significantly lower than they used to be. You go back to eating normally, turning those maintenance calories into a surplus for your slower metabolism, and the weight piles back on, starting the cycle all over again. While you cannot stop the metabolic drop that comes from getting leaner, you can mitigate the overall slowdown by preserving muscle. The low protein and lack of training told your body, muscle is unneeded, use it for energy. So, how do we stop this cycle and protect our muscle? The answer is eating enough protein. This isn't just bro science, it's backed by decades of research. Protein is critical for two major reasons in the context of weight loss. First, let's talk about the thermic effect of food, or TEF. This is the energy your body uses just to process the food you eat. Protein has a far higher TEF than both carbs and fats. While fats and carbs might only require 3 to 10% of their own calories to digest, protein requires 20 to 30%. That means if you eat 100 calories of pure protein, 20 to 30 of those calories are burned off just by digesting it. You are literally burning more calories just by eating more protein. Second, protein is crucial for satiety. It significantly impacts the hormones that regulate hunger. Protein helps suppress ghrelin, often called the hunger hormone, and boosts leptin, the satiety hormone. Unlike simple carbs, which are digested and absorbed quickly, protein takes a long time to break down, extending the feeling of fullness and keeping you satisfied throughout the day. This drastically cuts down on cravings and mindless snacking, making it much easier to stick to your calorie deficit. Some older research might suggest a protein intake as low as 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, but that number is geared towards sedentary people just trying to avoid a protein deficiency. You are not sedentary. You are lifting weights, putting your body in a calorie deficit, and actively sending the signal to your muscles that they are important. Therefore, you need a different, higher target to make the most out of your training and nutrition. There is no single magic number you must hit precisely, but you do need to stay within a certain range. Your absolute priority should be hitting at least 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That's about 0.7 grams per pound. That's the bare minimum. I know dieting is tough, and getting a high amount of protein within a restricted calorie budget is even tougher. But if you can manage it, you should aim to reach around 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. This is your optimal number for results and converts to approximately 1 gram per pound. You should aim to stay consistently within the minimum and the optimal numbers. The more you can push towards 2.2 grams per kilogram, the better. Reaching the high end of the range is tough and might sound like a lot, but as we discussed, the payoff is huge. A higher metabolism, a firmer appearance, and feeling fuller despite being on a caloric deficit. Can you go higher than 2.2? Sure, you can push it to 2.5, but beyond that, you'll see diminishing returns in play and extra stress on the kidneys. If you have any pre-existing conditions with your kidneys, you should talk to your doctor about the protein intake before you begin your diet. It's tempting to try and hit your protein goal with one giant chicken breast at dinner. While your body will eventually absorb all the protein you eat, consuming one big meal is far from the optimal way to go about it. The smart strategy is to spread it relatively evenly throughout the day, aiming for about 3 to 4 high-protein meals. Why? Because you want that satiating effect, that full feeling, to be constant. Having 30 to 50 grams per meal at breakfast, lunch, and dinner will keep those hunger hormones in check for the maximum amount of time, preventing those afternoon and evening crash and burn cravings that ruin your deficit. Our willpower gets depleted as the day progresses, making evening cravings dangerous. To help you get there without blowing your calorie budget, focus on lean protein sources. Focus on staples like eggs, skinless chicken or turkey breast, lean cuts of beef, tuna, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and whey protein powder. These foods deliver a high amount of protein for a relatively low number of calories, making them perfect for weight loss. Stop just focusing on the scale. When you approach weight loss the right way, by lifting weights while incorporating progressive overload to signal to your body that the muscle is necessary, and by consuming adequate protein to provide the building blocks and keep you full, the outcome is totally different. Instead of ending up somewhat lean but soft, weak, and with a snail's pace metabolism that's ready to gain all the weight back, you end up looking toned, strong, and defined. Your body is firmer because you've retained or even gained muscle. Your metabolism is running higher, so you can eat more food for maintenance, making the weight loss sustainable. This is the difference between achieving short-term weight loss and securing long-term body composition change. Now that you have the full strategy, I want to hear from you. Feel free to ask questions or share your biggest struggle with dieting or training in the comments section below. I do read all of them, and if I see that you need advice, I will do my best to help you out. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I plan to post one video a week, focusing on proven ways to get you in better shape, both scientifically and through my personal experience. See you next Sunday.